So I actually wasn't planning on reviewing this season of The Haunting of Bly Manor, but if you follow me on Twitter at Jacob_Hubby99, get me there, basically on Twitter, the account of the Haunting seasons, which was Haunting of Hill House, now Haunting of Bly Manor, they tagged me twice in post asking about certain creepy scenes and stuff like that. I guess they were messing with me or not, but I mean, it was a certified check, so it was the Twitter account. So I was like, if they tag me on Twitter, I guess I really do need just to review this freaking season. The Haunting of Bly Manor. From writer, director, producer, editor Mike Flanagan, who is one of the best horror film directors working today. He did make Dr. Sleep, which I think is underratedly just amazing, and of course he did Oculus and the good Ouija movie. So he actually did create this show, The Haunting. I guess it's called The Haunting because the first season, if you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix. It's called The Haunting of Hill House. I never did review the first season. I actually wanted to because of Mike Flanagan, and that first season is straight up awesome. Mike Flanagan he created an entire world in that one season. The characters, the scares, the setting. I mean, he made an awesome one season, basically, movie haunted house, and it is amazing. Check out the first season. So going into season 2, which again is not really season 2, it's the next season in the Haunting show, I was pretty stoked. This season stars Victoria Bateri, Oliver Jackson, Amelia Eve, and Tani Miller. This season is about after an Aunt Pierre's tragic death, Henry hires a young American nanny to care for his orphan niece and nephew who reside at Bly Manor. Now, I'm not good with the actual literature of this story, so apparently this story was the story that was in the movie earlier this year, The Turning, which was like awful. That movie sucked. And so this show is a basically expanded version of it with different stories going into. I'm not good with that history of it. I just know it's based off that story, the author, whatever. Again, I was just going in because freaking they tagged me on Twitter, because again, I wasn't even going to review it. But after sitting down and watching this 9-episode season, I can tell you this. It definitely isn't nowhere near scary or as even good as the first season, but I had a great time with this season. Of course, I'll start with the positives, and the first things first is the acting. So the actual cast members were in the first season, but this time they're playing different characters, which to some people might turn their brain off and be like, why did they do that? Most times, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not gonna lie. Usually I like seeing change up, whatever. But for this time, I was pretty okay with it because I figured everyone in this season was already proved themselves they're good actors, and this time they really showed up. Especially if I say her name wrong, I'm sorry. Tinia Miller, if I'm saying that right, who played Hannah Gross. She was awesome. I mean, she was flat out, she was the best part of this entire season. She was amazing in this show. But the acting all around is A+ material. Everyone played their part well. There's even a good, really cool cameo really early in the season I did not see coming. I was like, that's you. That was pretty neat though, which Mike Flanagan did do the first episode, which first episode looked great, of course. I mean, he directs great. But the first couple episodes, it's definitely, you're getting into it. It sets up this romance, it sets up this tragedy and these kids and this house, whatever, at Bly Manor. And it's definitely just complete setup. It feels like a movie. Like in the first part of the movie, it's basically setup, setup, setup. Basically put the first couple episodes for that. But once things start kicking into gear, it gets very haunting. Get the joke because it's called The Haunting of Bly Manor. You get my joke. But like I said, it's nowhere near as scary as the first season. I would give the first season a very scary grade. Like that first season is in your gut, twisting your gut around, your nerves. I mean, it is creepy / scary. This one is very haunting. Again, not to be a little jokey. It's actually a very haunting season, even though it definitely kind of reminded me of Crimson Peak. Crimson Peak was one of those movies where Guillermo del Toro did basically, it looked like a horror film, but it was really a romance / just horror, but morely a romance. I would say the same thing about this season. It honestly felt more like a romance, and the romance was good. It felt like good character development between these two actors, and I liked it. Again, it was more about the kids and dealing with the Bly Manor, and when that stuff was really front and center, I was in it for the show. I mean, I loved the setting. The setting is outstanding. The clothing design, the production, the editing, the directing, the cinematography, all 9 episodes are technically perfect for the show. And like I said, it takes a while to get it going, and again, no spoilers because it just came out on Netflix, and I was very creeped out in some scenes. Again, it's a slow show, and that's what Mike Flanagan does. He does a lot of slowness, even though he wasn't nowhere near as involved as was in the first season. I mean, he's still a producer. He's probably the showrunner. He is the showrunner, and he's the head writer and all that kind of stuff. But this season definitely felt more like, it felt like it was actually sticking way more close to the book, whatever, and the story. Because, again, I just watched The Turning in January, which was awful. I knew some things going in. With Haunting of Hill House, I didn't know shit. And I don't even think that's based on a book. I think that's just Mike Flanagan making a freaking awesome show first season. This one, I had some type of expectation, which kind of sucks. But then again, it was still presented to me very well made, acted, creepy, and a good drama romance between this family and these characters. And that's what the best thing that Mike Flanagan does. He uses characters and actual human issues as a scary tissue, and it works. He does that in all of his movies, basically. Oculus for sure, and Dr. Sleep definitely touched on it, and the first season of Haunting Hill House did that, and so did this season. Overall, I'm just trying not to talk major spoilers because, again, I went to this season with not the biggest expectations. I was excited to see the next installment of the Haunting series because Hill House was really good, so I was intrigued. But then again, when I heard Bly Manor, I was like, I didn't know what that was, and I found out it was based on the Turning book, whatever, and all that kind of stuff. So then again, I was mildly surprised and just a little disappointed, but nothing major. I still recommend this season. If you've not seen the first one, definitely watch the first one. Second season is definitely a solid scare for the Halloween season. I'm gonna give The Haunting of Bly Manor a B. I have said it once and I will say it again. Mike Flanagan is a top 3 horror director working today. Watch out for this man. I mean, he already did Dr. Sleep, and that was an awesome movie, and he's got more coming apparently, and he's got another season of another show coming on Netflix. So, horror director, I'm all in for it. Keep making it, Mike Flanagan. You are the best. Anyway, guys, if you guys enjoyed this season review, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye, everyone.